Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. So, Sprint had their third quarter earnings call on February 2nd, but I wanted to wait a few days after to see if more info was released because Sprint made a very bold claim during that earnings call, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But first, I wanted to talk about Sprint's postpaid phone net additions. A lot of analysts were saying that Sprint was going to have a terrible quarter based on the fact that T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T showed growth in this department. So Sprint ended up gaining 184,000 postpaid phone lines. That's the 10th consecutive quarter of positive net additions. Now, of course, this is nothing crazy like what T-Mobile's doing, but this is Sprint, so this is good for them. Also, they showed growth on the prepaid side, which, previous years they were doing really bad. So this is their fourth consecutive quarter of growth on prepaid net additions of 63,000 phones, customers. So this is definitely showing green on Sprint's end. This is definitely steps in the right direction, but of course there has to be more to come, more network upgrades. So during this call, Sprint went ahead and said that they are going to start Sprint's next gen network. And then everybody was like, okay, what is that? So that's when they made a promise that they will be the first carrier to deliver a nationwide 5G network early 2019. Now, this threw everyone off. I mean, I was reading comments on the tech blogs, and it was like, nationwide? You don't even have an LTE network nationwide. How are you going to do 5G? And, a lot of you are correct. Sprint does not have a nationwide 4G LTE network. A lot of it is 3G. A lot of it is roaming. But I think personally, I talked to a few people and we all came to an agreement by Sprint announcing this. They're acknowledging that they lost the LTE race, so to speak. And in my opinion, I believe the entire process going through Network Vision 1.0, 2.0, I just think this was all entirely the platform for 5G. The spectrum, the clear wire, I think all of that was setting Sprint up for 5G. Do I necessarily believe that it'll be nationwide? I'm going to have to say no. You guys know we keep it honest on the channel. A nationwide 5G network is going to require a lot of money. Sprint has to add density to its network, even on an interstate or a highway. As many of you know, 2.5 is not great for traveling far distances, such as low band. So Sprint's going to have to add density. That requires fiber. That's just a lot of money that needs to be invested in its network. But they made the promise, but they also made a promise a few years ago that they would be number one and number two in every single market, per route metrics, which they haven't done that yet. So I don't know what the promise is. Maybe it's all, just media hype, marketing, but this is what they announced. So as you can see, Sprint's 5G network arrives in 2019. Massive MIMO is the bridge to 5G. So originally they were going to roll Massive MIMO out anyway, but they were only going to target a few sites, maybe, bigger venues, Super Bowl stadiums, malls. But now it seems like this will be added. Well, I think it will have to be added on more than just a few sites for them to really claim that they have a nationwide 5G network. Now, mind you, no other carrier is doing a 5G network until about 2020. I would have been more satisfied if they came out like AT&T and said, hey, we're going to do 12 to 13 cities. That I would have been okay with. But them using the word nationwide is going to throw a lot of people off. And if Sprint doesn't have this nationwide by 2019, a lot of people are going to bash him once again. Hey, Sprint, you failed once again. So Sprint has a lot riding on this. So I'm going to say, this year, next year, Sprint's network is going to be entirely under construction. You're going to see a lot of small cells, permits, upgrades being done, and they're going to have to invest a lot of capital investment into this to really make this happen, to get a true nationwide 5G network. So once again, they also touted that they would be the best position for the first carrier with a nationwide mobile 5G platform. So once again, they are pushing that they have the good spectrum, well, the low band spectrum of 5G to push the 5G nationwide network. And they do. If a lot of you have been following this channel for a while now, you all know that Sprint has very good spectrum, and they really don't need the crazy density that a Verizon would need with the millimeter waves to push this 5G platform. But do they have the money? Well, they just saved $7.2 billion with this tax cut, so maybe they can invest some of that to the capital investment. And I just hope this time that they execute their plan. They can't just keep talking just like they did a few years ago. Oh, we're going to be number 1 and 2 in every market. Like, you know, that's just not going to work anymore. You're going to have to show proof. So next, this is something that I wanted to throw in towards the end. They ended up using, their customers at the Super Bowl ended up using 9.7 terabytes. So AT&T was at 7.2 terabytes. So Sprint had more usage at the Super Bowl than AT&T, with a 94% increase in total data usage from the year prior in Houston. So this is definitely good to see that Sprint was able to keep up with the network. I know the upload speeds were just terrible, but they still invested enough to give their customers a decent experience. And another thing that I felt like was interesting, so Sprint is raising their free cash flow guidance from break even. They were just going to break even in the fiscal year of 2017 to $500 to $700 million. That's around what T-Mobile was doing. So Sprint is anticipating their fourth quarter. They're starting their fourth quarter now all the way through April. All the other carriers are in Q1. So Sprint, I guess, is expecting their quarter 4 to be really big. So I know this was a lot of info, longer video, but I just wanted to get this point across that Sprint is pushing a 5G platform. I think, once again, in my opinion, that's what they've been doing all along. The network vision was an entire rip and replace, which T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon will also have to do. As far as the base station and the antennas, Sprint has stopped doing the GMO upgrades from what I've been told. Originally, they were going to just upgrade the base stations and use the old equipment at the top to run LTE, but now they're also going back and tearing that top equipment, antennas, and adding new antennas as well. So things are changing at Sprint. It may not be as good in your area yet, but I want to believe that soon you should start noticing a big difference in the network. So definitely stay tuned to the channel. Lots more updates coming, especially today. RootMetrics released their report, so we're going to talk about that. So leave your comments in the comment section down below. Like, share, and subscribe. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.